Hi, folks. This is John with Remodeling Wizards of Maryland, and I'm here today as part of our How to Select a Contractor series to talk to you about an item that's really on the top of my list of criteria for selecting the correct contractor. Now, let's put aside the fact that if you're going to hire a home improvement contractor, let's assume that you're hiring people that have a license. I mean, why do we need a license? Well, in the state of Maryland, it's illegal for somebody to get into a contract with a homeowner if to do home improvement work if they don't have a license. So you're basically being defrauded if you hire somebody without a license to do work in your home. And of course, the issues with all of that is if something goes wrong or you have a dispute, it's going to be very complicated trying to figure out how you're going to ever get a resolution. So let's put that aside. And it said in the state of Maryland, the license that a contractor needs to have is called the Maryland Home Improvement Commission, MHIC. It's an MHIC license. They get assigned a number. There's a fee that's paid. There's a test that you have to go through, even in order to get the license. There's some proof of insurance, some proof of credit, all of those things. So it's a good thing in the state of Maryland because it helps to protect consumers like you. Now, let's assume again, we're going to put that aside as we go through these different criteria of ways to find and to make a decision on which contractor to use. Now, this is on the top of my list. Now, it may not be number one, but it's within the top three, and that's communication. The cool thing about communication is you can find out early on, even before you talk to the contractor, how well the contractor is going to communicate with you. So here's an example. Let's say you're looking for a plumber to do some work at your home, and you go online and you get a list of different people who you can call. And you find somebody, you open up the website, you look at the website, and things look good to you. You think, well, this sounds like a good plumber. The first thing I do is I look for the phone number. If I can't find the phone number, it's hidden somewhere. I can't find contact information, like what's the phone number, where's the address of this plumbing business. I start to get concerned because that tells me that it sounds like they don't really want me to give them a phone call. Okay, and let's assume that I'm all right with that. I mean, there's new technology out. Not everybody likes to get on the phone and talk to someone. I personally do. I like to talk to somebody before I engage with a contract or ask them to come out to my home. But let's say, okay, I do have a system of getting hold of them, and it's through email. And fill out this contact form, and great, and they're going to get back to you on email. Or they may even have somebody call you back. Good. Go ahead with it. Fill out the form. Let's see what happens. If I don't hear from somebody by the end of the day, again, I start to worry. I don't have a phone number. I left a message on my computer, and I'm waiting for a response. I haven't gotten one. Well, if I'm not getting a response now, what do you think is going to happen when I have an emergency? And I really do need to have somebody come out and get to me quickly. So that's one red flag I would look at. Now, let's assume that you now find somebody else, another plumber. You find ABC Plumbing, and there's a phone number listed there. Maybe it's a 1-800 number. Okay, that's great. Let me make the phone call. So I get on the phone, I call the 1-800 number. And now I'm listening to see what type of response did I get. Now, if I get a response something like this, you've reached 1-800-222-666. No one is here. Leave a message. Again, I start to wonder, well, this is odd. This is 10 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock in the morning. I'm calling, sort of during regular business hours, and I can't get somebody on the phone. Well, maybe they're busy. Maybe they're doing something else. Okay, so I can, I can live with that. So I'll leave my message. I'll leave my phone number. And then again, if I don't hear from somebody by the end of the day, another red flag. Does that mean that, is this person going to be Johnny on the spot when I really need them? I can't even get them on the phone to ask them about doing work for me and taking some of my money. So again, red flag number two. Worse than that, I call on the phone, 1-800, and I get a message. Hi, you reached 1-800, mailbox is full. Well, guess what I do? I take that number and I just throw it out. I don't make another call. I mean, you have a phone number and you can't pick it up. Okay, I understand. Everybody's busy. You don't always have somebody sitting there at the phone. So, but you have a phone number and the box is full. Why is the box full? You're not clearing out your box? What's going on? So you can see my point here. You're now dealing with somebody that doesn't have a good system to communicate. The other thing that's a red flag for me, I get somebody on the other side of the line. Hi, this is ABC Plumbing. Oh, great. Can I get a hold of a plumber? Can somebody come out? Oh, let me take your information. Okay, great. I'll give it to you. All right. So, where are you guys located? Well, I'll have somebody get back to you. Be careful because many times who you're talking to on the other side is not ABC Plumbing. It's a third party lead generating company, and they're taking your information so that they can sell it to a bunch of plumbers. And then over the next few days, you'll get a bunch of phone calls. You won't have a clue who you're talking to. You'll end up getting so confused because you'll have so many people that you'll get to the point where you're going to start blocking all these phone numbers. Now, what I want when I make a phone call is I really want to get a hold of somebody at ABC Plumbing. I want to know who I'm talking to. I just did some research. I vetted this company. So I want to talk to somebody from that company. So I whenever I get those third parties, I just basically at that point I hang the phone up. Now, but you may want a bunch of plumbers to call you, and it might be something that's good for you if that's what you're looking for. But I always recommend that you vet somebody in advance. You look at their website, you look at their reviews, you find somebody who's local. Why do I want somebody who's local? Well, I like to give business to local businesses. I like to purchase from local businesses just to keep my community healthy and so on. But more importantly, or just as important, is if I'm getting work done in my home and I hire somebody who's maybe from another state and I have a problem, well, they have a long way to travel to come out to solve my little problem. So sometimes it's better just to get somebody who's nearby, around the corner, so that when you make that phone call, when you need some assistance in the future, that that it's close enough and convenient enough for the contractor to be able to say, "Hey, I'm right around the corner. I can take care of whatever you need." Okay, so that's another thing that you should be looking at is where is this company located? Okay, is it somewhere in my county or within a hour or so ride of where I live? I don't want somebody who's going to be working in Maryland who has a an office in Virginia. It's just such a long ride, unless they have perhaps a satellite office somewhere, at least within the state of Maryland. And again, my rule of thumb is you want to have a contractor that doesn't have to be 5 minutes away, but I would say you really don't want somebody that's 2 or 3 hours away, someone closer than that. And most good contractors, they're busy enough that they can have a close, tight geography. They prefer it because of the same reasons. Um, so that's the other tip. Again, here we are. We have to be able to get somebody on the phone. Now, let's assume you finally get someone on the phone and they answer the phone. This is ABC Plumbing. How can I help you? Well, I'm having a problem. There's a problem with my sink in my bathroom, my vanity sink. And the person says, okay, great. And this is good. Let me write the information down. I can have a plumber get a hold of you, or perhaps hold on. Let me get somebody else on the phone, or hold on. What I can do is I can set up a time for you to talk with somebody. That's all good news. Now, if you start to hear on the other end a sink, what kind of a sink? Where? What? What do you mean by drain? Well, I don't know. I'm really not sure. I, you mean under the sink? Well, I don't. I don't. I'm not even sure what you. If you start hearing this confusion on the other line, it's because you're talking to somebody that's totally clueless. Now, in a way, you might think, well, this is just a person that answers the phone, doesn't really know anything about plumbing, and they just take a message. Well, to be honest with you, what I look for when I get that person on the phone is pretty quickly, if they don't understand what I'm asking for, that they find somebody who does and puts that person on the phone. Or better yet, the person that answers the phone has been around the plumbing business for a few years. This person may not be a plumber, but heck, they know what a sink is, they know what a faucet is because they've heard it before. And that's something that I'm judging as I'm on the telephone with the individual is, how is this company stable? Do they have people that just are answering phones that maybe they just hired yesterday? Or are the people in that office competent and at least they have some idea of the workings around the plumbing business? So anyway, there are some of the tips that I can give you, and there's a long list that I can go further and further with it. If you have any questions, give me a call or drop me a message here. I'd be happy to answer those for you. But these are some things that you can do in your judgment as you are trying to contact somebody and trying to evaluate, are they going to be a good communicator? Because believe me, once you start doing a project and somebody's in your house for weeks or months at a time, you're going to want to be able to have somebody to communicate with. So put that on the top of your list, and thank you for listening. Take care.